Hi guys, in this video I'm going to show you the wet on wet watercolor technique. So the very first thing that I've done is I've taken a little bit of masking tape and I've cut one of my watercolor pieces of paper into two sections. So for the first assignment this week we're going to use one side, and for the second assignment this week we are going to use the other side. So just focus on one side for this assignment. So the wet on wet is exactly what it sounds like. We're going to use wet medium on a wet piece of paper. So the very first thing I'm going to do with my very clean brush is wet my entire piece of paper. And my water is just a little bit blue, so you can actually see it in the video, but yours should be totally clear. So I'm going to get that paper nice and wet, and that's going to help move some of the medium around. I just want to get it all the way. And it should stay wet for a while. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull a color over. So I'm going to use blue because I've already kind of got it loaded up. And I'm going to make it pretty damp on my color palette. So I want it fairly highly pigmented and pretty wet. And then I'm going to go ahead and make some sort of a painting. So the first thing I'm going to do is use my brush. I'm going to try to make like a pattern, and you're going to notice that your paint, as you apply it, is really blurry. It should be pretty easy to blend. I'm just going to work in a diagonal way across my piece of paper, and I'm kind of moving back and forth between my palette of color and my piece of paper. So it is kind of like bleeding, the paper's kind of buckling, that's what it should look like. And then I'm going to bring in a second color, so I'm going to kind of blend this with a green. So from my palette, I'm going to make my green pretty wet. And my goal here is to just practice blending these two colors together, which should work pretty easily since we have a lot of water. I'm going to go back to blue. I'm going to kind of create this like blue-green gradient. This is a really good technique for painting sky or ocean or anything that's kind of like atmospheric or landscape or ethereal. So it's pretty light. It shouldn't be too dark, and it should blend really well. It's kind of very minimal. And then I'm going to let that dry before I move on to the other side of my piece of paper. And that's kind of all you have to do for this part, is just to practice that wet on wet technique. And then once you're finished, you can go ahead and upload a picture of your exploration.